presented by Horns and Hooves Entertainment. You are watching Buffalo After Dark.
Welcome to Buffalo After Dark, everybody. It is a different night for us. It's actually Thursday, April 14th. And then, of course, tonight we've got Bob and Sean in the middle of somewhere down near Atlanta.
Hey, I'm just, this is what happens when you work late. You gotta drive freaking half an hour from work to home and just freaking being late for your own freaking podcast and whatnot. So honestly, I'm doing this from now on in case anytime that happens to me again. So
yeah, it's not a bad thing, you know. It's like, hey, you're like, we get to kind of see where you're traveling to a little bit here and there, and you know, it makes it a little interesting. So
yeah. A little adventure.
Yeah,
a little vlogging.
Yeah, and then Bobby, you're representing the Rags.
I fucking hate them with the passion, but the only reason I'm even wearing this is because of that, because of Wayne Gretzky. That's about it. That's the only excuse I would ever wear regarding the New York Rangers. I mean, I personally like this jersey, but because it's Gretzky on it, but I would never buy it for any other reason. Other than that, this is the only reason I have it in my collection. And I was going to have to get them eventually.
Right. Oh.
So that's where I stand with this jersey, with the New York Rangers. I mean, overall, I would never root for the Rangers. I would never do that at all. But it's just, you know, it's just a jersey collecting thing.
Nice. Good stuff. I'll have to break out the red Stu Barnes jersey one of these days from the Sabres. Back from that.
Yeah. Yeah, eventually. So, but life in general has been good. I mean, spring is here. It's getting busy at work during the day. And yeah, and most importantly, get ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NFL draft coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we'll be covering that here on the show when it comes up. So, but fun thing is, of course, if you guys want to be on, we'll be on until about 9 o'clock tonight. 929-205-6099 gets you on the air. Right now, this real-time scoring, 2-1. St. Louis is in the lead, but the goal is under review.
It's 2-1 St. Louis?
Yeah, but the refs are reviewing the goal that St. Louis just scored.
Yeah, I got no visionary of the game on at the moment, but thanks for telling me that, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and Asplund is the lone goal scorer for the Sabres so far. So it is right now we're at we have 15:46 left in the second.
Right. So in the meantime, why don't we go over some of the stuff that has been going on in the last couple of days, if not a whole week?
The call is no goal, so it's going to be tied at 1.
Excellent. So let's talk about Dwayne Haskins, because I know I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and it's really tragic what happened to him, though.
Yeah, it is. So down in Florida, he ends up in a car accident involving a dump truck, and unfortunately, he did not make it. And he was with the Steelers, obviously. I mean, he had a lot of time there, graduated from OSU, and the Sabres just tied it up. Well, actually, no. Sabres are – wait a minute. Sabres just scored. And right now it's let's see. Owen Power just got his first NHL goal.
First overall pick, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. And I'm actually just watching the play right now and just wait a minute. Actually no. No, it's nope, Alex Tuch is going to get his 11th.
Oh, it was Alex Tuch. So Power got an assist.
It looks like that. And apparently they're showing tied at 2. So I'm just trying to figure out what the deal was, but apparently it's 2-2.
You just said they said it was no goal.
Yeah, well, it was way off, and I'm trying to figure out like what the deal was with the scoring here. So, all right. So actually, the Sabres had a goal waved off. They came back, ended up getting their second goal, and it was counted. So I was looking at that. Anyways, 2-2. So
anyway,
so
what was I going to say? So Dwight Haskins, so he died on last Saturday due to a tragic accident where he ran out of gas at a rental car in South Florida, and he had to travel by foot to get gas. and there was a dump truck that couldn't stop, and apparently the brakes were broken and couldn't stop the truck on time to hit him, and sure enough, it killed him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame to see it. Shame to see that too. He had a lot. Well, he had some promise too.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's really tragic what happened to him. But at the end of the day, it's life, and I don't say that as an excuse. But a lot of people have had mixed feelings about Dwayne Haskins. But one comment that really pissed a lot of people off was the comments that were made by Adam Schefter. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah, I saw it, and he got destroyed for it. And like to this day, he's still getting roasted for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, Adam Schefter on Saturday, like an hour or around the time it happened, he wrote a tweet that was beyond out of context and beyond inappropriate. And he straight up said, Dwayne Haskins, a struggling quarterback who couldn't find his footing in the NFL, but gets a job with the Pittsburgh Steelers, has died. Like, why did you have to say that? It's not necessary to bring that up, especially when someone just died. There's no reason for it.
Exactly. Now, granted, he did delete that tweet and apologize for it, but yeah, when it comes to freaking Twitter, and people don't forgive, and they don't forget.
No, and the problem is that they're very unforgiving, so they don't take apologies that lightly.
No, they don't. This is they will continue to haunt him over it for probably the rest of his life, honestly.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, and especially when someone passes away, especially with this type of accident, I mean, come on. There's no reason for it. I don't care if you like the person. I don't care if you don't like the person or anything like that. I mean, Schefter should have just kept his mouth shut on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just for me, it just looked at a way of saying, that's just beyond disrespectful. Like you just don't do that. I mean, it's like if I said, if Mark Messier died of cancer tomorrow, I wouldn't say, I'm so happy he's dead. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, I'm sending my condolences to his family and all that. I mean, you're supposed to do that with anybody. I mean, a lot of people tend to forget these people are human beings, and things happen all the time. Because I think the last time I heard of an automobile accident relating to an athlete was probably Kobe Bryant, which was like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when it was the whole plane crash.
Yeah, the whole plane crash thing with Kobe Bryant. And somebody actually made a joke about that 15 years ago, and it came into reality. And then the person who originally wrote that tweet was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that was still tough to see that too, because I mean, whether you like Bryant at the time or if you didn't, I mean, there's no doubt Kobe did a lot of things in the NBA, and I mean, and he is regarded as one of the best players ever in his position. So, I mean, for him to go along with his daughter and then several others in that plane, I mean, you just never want to see something like that. And same thing with Haskins, with how he was killed in that accident. Same thing. And one of the things that was interesting is I saw on Twitter, and actually out of Columbus, where there was a tribute done at Ohio State University where he ended up graduating from, and they ended up hanging his jersey on the gates of the stadium. And this one guy was actually playing the violin over there in tribute. So, it was nice to, at least see that.
Right. Sean, just reply to Adam for me, please, or whoever, because he's like, yo, who's in it? Oh, thank you, Tom.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, as far as now, he's not the only person that passed away this week, though. And it was also legendary comedian, the voice of Iago from Aladdin, Gilbert Godfrey, passed away at the age of 67 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was surprised in that.
Oh my gosh. That I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with that, man, for real.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah, he's a comedic legend. I mean, the one thing outside of Iago I'll never forget about him is that joke he made about the aristocrats.
Oh yeah, the aristocrats.
Oh fucking hell! Where the daughter is licking the dad's ass, and the dad starts licking the wife's ass.
Oh God, I remember
if
that.
If you've not ever heard the aristocrats joke, go listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta listen. You gotta listen to it. And what happened with Gilbert Gottfried? He actually died from a long illness, and he actually had myotonic dystrophy type 2, which is a rare disease. And what happened is it actually ended up causing a recurrent ventricular tachycardia. So basically, it was a heart issue that ended up taking him, unfortunately.
So, in other words, Gilbert Gottfried died of a heart failure.
Well, related to his disease, yeah. I mean, tachycardia is definitely a heart issue.
Well, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that because a lot of people thought that it was for other circumstances, but I didn't even know he was sick, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me either. And I mean, it's like nobody would have ever thought that. And real-time scoring, St. Louis just went up 3-2.
Shit.
And right now, second period scoring, St. Louis has a plus 39 goal differential for the season. Best in the NHL.
I'm not surprised since it's the St. Louis Blues.
Right.
But in general, though, like when you take it from the contrast, it is pretty sad, though, when you look at Gilbert Gottfried's legacy, people will always remember him as Iago from Aladdin.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he had a lot of hilarious bits throughout his career. I mean, I would definitely rank him up there on probably like the top 10 of all-time comedians.
I don't know if I put him in top 10, but I mean, maybe I have a different taste of like comedians, but I would say though Gilbert Gottfried, his voice will definitely be the most iconic of all comedians.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that will definitely rank number one in my book.
Right.
But as far as like iconic things, I mean, he was also like Problem Child, I believe. He was in. He did a few skits too. I think he did one with James Rolfe on the Angry Video Game Nerd show a couple of years ago. I think he did that. He also did just as a joke at College Humor, where he did a voiceover for Audible.com for the book 50 Shades of Grey with Gilbert Gottfried's voiceover on it.
Right. And then one of the other things he'll be known for more recently has been him doing the Comedy Central roast.
Mm-hmm. And I think he did one on Donald Trump, and he did one on a bunch of other celebrities too. But I know he was really close with Trump, and I know he was on that show, Celebrity Apprentice, where he got fired. Yep. So, yeah. So, I mean, I never watched the show growing up, but I saw that clip just on the day he died, and I'm just like, well, okay, well, that makes a lot more sense to why he would be this way. I guess you could say, from Gilbert's perspective, his audience would be more into his stuff, would be like into like the sex jokes and the black on black jokes and all that bunch of other shit that I can't go into contrast with the show, because it could lead to problems. But just from that alone, it just like he brings out a defined legacy for Gilbert Gottfried. And, it's not going to be the same without him, of course, but I think most people will remember him for just laughing in general or just looking back on his jokes. For the same reason, I think people could say the thing about George Carlin. I think it could be.
Carlin's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, George Carlin, he was another one. Robin Williams was another one. Yep. So a lot of comedians, Norm Macdonald died in September. And then I think, what was that guy that died in January?
Well, I was going to say Norm Macdonald died, and then...
something Anderson.
Oh, Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson, that's his name. So yeah, Gilbert Gottfried, Louis Anderson, and Norm Macdonald all died within 6 months.
Right. And then even not that long before that, Jeff Ross ended up dying.
It's unfortunate. I mean, it's life, man. Everybody dies eventually, right?
Mm-hmm. Very true. Yep. It looks like Adam will not be joining us this week, so apparently he's not going to be home in time. Well,
yeah, he said this thing.
Do what Mr. Bubba Matt here did. He actually called from his car for first few minutes of the show.
Yep, and I'm finally back home, as you can see.
There you go. Nice.
And you got a freaking Bills jersey on. Is that Kyle Williams?
No, this is Sam the Keg Adams. This is my first ever Bills jersey that I've had back in 2003.
Oh wow, look at you go.
Yep. Nice. I was freaking 16 back then.
I just got a freaking Von Miller jersey not too long ago.
Shoot, I gotta get me a jersey before the season.
Yeah. Why do you have Percy Harvin and EJ Manuel?
I don't know, man. It was just a couple of cheap jerseys that I bought about a few years ago.
I went to the thrift shop and there was a bunch of shirts over there. And I looked at it, I'm like, that's the one.
Yeah, except these were from the Bills store official website.
Yeah, I bought mine overseas.
There you go.
Yep, and I was like, I'll be on in just another 15 minutes. Oh, I just need to get on here. You know what he's actually doing? Like, oh, I have to get ready in 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry, Tom.
Oh, I was gonna like shoot on one thing like completely different too, and I was gonna say, Coggle, if you're actually watching, why don't you stop talking about our show? Because last I remember, you haven't podcasted in God knows how long, and there's no way in hell you're getting 2,000 followers a show when you get only like one, and half the time you're putting me to sleep.
He hasn't even done it. Listen, ever since we got those notifications. So for anybody who's curious what we're talking about, Ryan Cahill actually made a comment on one of our episodes, and he was saying that, oh, we're not doing shit, basically. And yet I'm enjoying 2,000 views per video. I'm like, 2,000 views per my ass. The guy couldn't even reach 100 in his old channels. So what the fuck is he talking about?
And he doesn't even podcast on his own stuff. He's had like no new content on his own channel. And
the only reason we didn't even bother.
Yeah, and half the time he's not even joining any of the team that he joined up with.
Yeah, and he got kicked out of that one, and then he went to another one, and he got kicked out of that one. So it's like on and on at this point.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, true story. We have had him on here before. We had him on a couple times in season 1. We didn't bring him back for season 2. And the bottom line is, I mean, he put me to sleep at least twice during the show. Like, actually, I was like passed out. And then I remember you guys were the same thing. You guys were getting passed out. I mean, and I get like some of his sports takes and everything, but it's just when you're putting people to sleep, we just can't have that on as content. It just doesn't work. And plus the other thing is half the time then we were running into like 3 and 4 hour long shows by the time he was done. And then we know you guys don't want that either. I mean, we try to keep it to like an hour and a half max.
You know what that reminds me of? Remember that episode of Family Guy when Peter, Quagmire, Joe, and Cleveland all came out around one day and said, you know what we should do at the bar? We should make a podcast. And they did like a little story about it. And then Cleveland goes on and on and on and on and put the rest of the guys on there. It's like, well, that's why how the story ends. And then it's like, okay, thank you for joining us. And they all went like, what the hell? Why did you spoil it?
Right. And I will say this, I'm not going to crap on him as a person or anything like that, but his content, that's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good person overall, but it's just the concept that he brought to the table at the time was just fucking boring. And at that point, I had to say it to his face. And the only entertaining thing I ever got out of him was making that stupid line across his forehead.
Oh, the unibrow.
The unibrow,
yeah. Remember that episode when I ended up pulling up the other screen and you guys were like, what the hell?
Yeah, and Brian was so insulted that night. I will never forget that. But I think if he refers to the 2,000 views he gets, I think he's talking about the amount of hairs on his eyebrows.
Something. I mean, he doesn't get that on his shows, and that's even if he does any podcasts, which he hardly ever does. So I mean, and here we are. This is actually episode 86 of Buffalo After Dark. So we've actually gone almost 2 full years already. We're about to hit episode 100 within like the next probably like 2 months. I mean, and it's one of those things. I'll say this. We may not have the most views on anything with YouTube, but at least we're doing it, and we're doing something, and we have something that people can watch. And in our Facebook page that we have, which I know a lot of people do take a look at every week. I mean, we've got almost 2,700 following on a regular basis. So, we're just doing things our way. That's how we're going to do it. And we don't have to have the most viewers in the world. And, having the most people like looking at a show is, not everything. It's just a matter of, hey, we're doing it because we enjoy it. We don't get paid to do it. We just come here to do what we do because we enjoy it.
Yeah. And on top of all that, we also do it for fun. It's not like back in the old days when we took everything so seriously.
Exactly.
Yep.
And Craig Anderson just got beat with a bad goal, and Tarasenko made it 4-2 St. Louis.
Oh, my God. Why even bother when they know they're not going to show
It was
up?
a rolling puck.
Well, that explains it. Is it from center ice? Was the puck from center ice?
No, it was outside the crease, but I mean, it looked like it was a screen, and then he was just completely out of position. It was like an open net.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not even worth it. And then Ricky, as you know, one of my good buddies who's an Avalanche fan, is like, I need the Sabres to win tonight. I'm like, why? So they can win the President's Trophy. Don't fuck it up. I'm like, all right, whatever. I mean, you're wishful thinking, but it is what it is. But speaking of losing, the Sabres are 3-0 against the Leafs this year. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, you call yourself a Stanley Cup contender, and you can't beat the fucking Sabres.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
I mean, it's like if, the Calgary Flames came out of nowhere and said, we're cup contenders, but we can't beat the freaking Kraken.
Hmm.
It's the same monologue. Not that I don't think it's any different, but I think you understand the concept behind it.
Yep.
So, but let's go around the table. Like, Tom, why do you think the Sabres can beat the Leafs?
Well, if they're hot, they're hot. And here's the thing. I mean, Owen Power's debut. I mean, he was great with shutting everything down. And then, of course, they moved Darlene to the right. So here you have somebody that can excel being a stay-at-home defenseman. Plus, Darlene likes to get more into the offensive side of things. So here you are. You have a pretty good little mix right there. And plus, the other thing I'm looking at is then, especially with how top line has been performing a little bit more recently, and just the team overall seems to have been buying in more recently. So, I mean, Thompson has, 32, 33 goals on the season so far? Who would have thought?
I think Buffalo has like multiple.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah, I think the Sabres have like multiple players on the team this year that have like 30 plus goals. I know Skinner just made it. Thompson made it.
Yeah.
There was a few handful of players that got 30 goals this year. I think I'm trying to think. Skinner, Thompson, not Oposo. Oposo was close to 20 at this point.
Right, but even Oposo, that's a pretty good season.
I think most of the players after they traded Eichel have had a pretty good year. I mean, before that, it was like not even worth mentioning. And then all of a sudden they get rid of Eichel, and then they have all these picks, and then it's like, wow, maybe the Sabres could actually do something.
Right, and then Alex Tuck with 11 goals. Krebs has been scoring. I mean, they're like literally. I think now what they're realizing is with Eichel gone, they've got to be a team, and they're learning how to play with each other.
Yeah, because when Eichel was there, it was basically me, all about me.
Right, exactly. And with them being gone, that's a good thing. So actually, just to give you an idea of how Vegas is right now, they're 40, 29, and 5, and basically in the Pacific Division, they're in 4th place. So they haven't been playing all that great.
Well, to be fair, they've also had a series of injuries.
Yeah, true. But then they didn't exactly play well when Eichel first started with them.
I think they're going to be better next year when they get the full squad back together. But I do expect people to be leaving the team. Like, I expect Riley Smith to be gone. I expect a few contracts to be traded. Like, I know they tried to trade Max Pacioretty over the summer last year, but that didn't pan out too well. So there were a few misconceptions of like where players could go. But it's just, you know what it is? It's like with Vegas, it's a guessing game. Because at the end of the day, when you look at it, they're not going to just trade the players for the sake of trading them. They're going to do it for cap dumping. They can't afford any more contracts than they already have. I mean, they're taking on the last year of Ryan Kessler's contract, and they got to pay off some contracts that are, that are basically bought out. And I don't even think they have any contracts that are bought out. It's just they brought in a lot of guys that are probably in their mid-30s, and the half of them that haven't really produced.
Right. Very true. And right now with their standings, they're 9th overall in the West.
9th overall in the West. That's not good overall.
No, it's not. Because basically right now with the Western Conference standings, Colorado already clinched. So they're number 1. Calgary's number 2. Minnesota's 3. St. Louis 4. Edmonton number 5. Nashville 6. Dallas is actually in 7th. LA Kings are in 8th. And then basically after that, then you have Vegas, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Anaheim, San Jose, Chicago, Seattle, and Arizona to round it out.
Yeah, I think for Vegas to make it this year, they have to win at least 4 of those games.
Right. I just don't know if I just don't possibly see it happening.
I don't know. I'm not really keen on Vegas this year. I mean, I like them overall. I know a lot of people don't really like them, but then again, it's just an opinion. I don't know. Maybe I just have a special place for them for helping a couple of my buddies be Knights fans when they first started, especially one of my good friends at the wedding coming up. He's a Knights fan, and I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, well, I have a soft spot for Vegas, so I guess I have that. I have the same thing with Seattle, all because I got Sean inspired with the Kraken, and I know it's his first year, and I know they didn't really live up to his expectations, but he has to remember that's an expansion team. You're dealing with a bunch of misfits, a bunch of thrown away toys, and you're basically just trying to put the pieces together. It's like taking a crate of Legos and you just hope in vain that you want to build the biggest art craft, in all of, the world. Like take all these Lego pieces and build the biggest, model of Hogwarts, of Wizardcraft or whatever it's called.
Right. And I mean, for Seattle, I mean, I've got a soft spot for him also because I mean, I want to see him play well. And, it's cool to see another team out in the West. Finally we got 16 teams out there instead of 15. So that's a plus. But
yeah,
with how they're doing, honestly, I mean, 23, 44, and 6 for an expansion team, honestly, is not bad in a first season. That's actually a lot better than some previous expansion teams that have come into the league. I mean, Nashville sucked their first couple of years. San Jose was brutal their first few. Tampa was horrible. Ottawa was probably one of the worst expansion teams I can remember going all the way back to the early 90s. I mean, actually, Ottawa only won 8 games their first year. So, I mean, Seattle's already in a much better position than Ottawa was. But then you look at other previous expansion teams, same thing. It's very common. It happens. You're not going to win your first couple of years. Usually, Vegas just happened to be Vegas, where everybody just bought off the most expensive contracts.
Yeah, and guess what? They also are likely a lock in the top 5 in the draft lottery for Shane Wright this year. So Seattle, like last year, they could end up getting a top 3 pick again this year. But they changed the rules. So if Seattle gets the first overall pick, and if they fail again next year in 2023, they can't get the first overall pick again. So if they get Shane Wright this year, they can't get Connor Bedard. So Seattle has to make a decision. Not that it's their choice by any means for the lottery, just the way how it's set up. I just don't know. I mean, I think the Kraken have a good foundation up ahead with 34 picks. And I remember Sean talking about this on the Kraken's Lair. And he said that there were at least 34 draft picks that the Kraken have going into this summer's draft. And guess what? He's not going to use all those picks. He's going to trade at least a handful of them.
Right. And a few things are going to be flipped. It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. That's just the business perspective.
Right. But I have to say, though, I mean, the other thing that also hurt Seattle was just the injuries this year. I mean, they got beat up pretty bad.
Even then, I didn't expect much from them this year. I mean, I just looked at them as an expansion team, and another new team in the NHL. That's how I look at them. I think after the first 5 years, that whole expansion talk kind of goes away after a while. I think Vegas is entering that phase where they're no longer considered they're an expansion team, and they always will be. But as far as being a freshly new franchise, they're not going to be at that point anymore because they're entering their 5th or 6th year in the league. They're not at that stage anymore.
Right. Nashville was the same way. Like after 5th, 6th year, I mean, they're just a regular team.
Yeah. Sean, what do you think, guy?
Yeah, I agree with what you said with Seattle. Yeah, I didn't think much of them because they are an expansion team, and I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs, which it's a given. But yeah, it takes a few years for a team to get themselves together. So I'm going to be. So you can expect me to be a bit miserable for the next couple of years until they start getting themselves together. Because after 5 years, it won't be. There's no excuse. All right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even my high school when they first started hockey, it was actually I remember it well. It was the 99-2000 season when my high school for the very first time had hockey as one of their sports teams, and they were brutal for the first couple of years, and then not that long ago they ended up winning the states. So I mean, it took a while. Same thing. Just like in like any level of sports, you get a brand new team. It's going to take a while for everybody to learn how to play with each other, gel together, and make things happen. It's just how sports works. But I mean, I will say Seattle has been fun to watch the couple times I have seen them this season, though. And And just seeing the effort that's there, I mean, hey, at least they're attempting to try and win games. It's just they don't have enough to do it right now. That's really the difference. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like I said, they got the pieces. I mean, goaltending is the least of their issues. I mean, Philip Grubauer, I think, is having a pretty,
he's having a good
year.
season for his first year with the Kraken. I mean, I like that pick a lot.
I mean, I do as well, but here's my problem with him. He was fucking garbage in the first 25 games. But then he got a little bit better from here on out. But see, the thing with Seattle is this. They're an expansion team. So there are going to be some woes. So people have to just be patient with them. I mean, I know Sean was like, oh, everything is Philip Grubauer's fault. I'm like, that's not true at all. And you know what? That's always the case with newbies. They always blame the goalie because they somehow think they're fucking Patrick Waugh. So there's no way you can't expect
Patrick Waugh is a class in himself.
Like you can't be Listen, you can't be an expansion team and just say fuck it. We have new Patrick Waugh on our team. Like here's the thing: Patrick Waugh was a legend. Okay, Patrick Waugh was a 20-year-old when he played for the Canadians, and they won his first Stanley Cup in '86. So that was a long time ago. But the whole point. But the point I'm trying to make is, if people thought that they were going to get the next Patrick Waugh on the Seattle Kraken, it's possible, and it depends who you trade with and who you draft. That's what it really comes down to, because the NHL draft, it's not like the NFL draft where they just go in right away. It takes a couple of years. They have to go back to the juniors. They have to go back to their development league. It's every team that does this. It's not just the Kraken. It's everybody. Vegas does it too.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Seattle has, and plus the Kraken also have their the what is it? The Flint Firebirds or the whatever they're called, the Firebirds something.
Yeah.
In next year in the AHL. I know Sean covered it a while ago.
Yeah, I did. Something I forgot. Something Valley Firebirds.
Yeah, something Firebirds. I know that was in their name.
Wasn't the Coachella Valley Firebirds or something?
No, let me look them up. Let me look them up again. Coachella Valley Firebirds.
I don't even know how I remembered that.
Coachella Valley Firebirds.
Yeah, so that's their new AHL team. So whenever a player gets hurt, that's who Seattle's going to be using for their system going forward.
Right.
Because that's their excuse. So speaking of excuses, Justin Bieber is apparently putting down a bet to buy the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, God.
What?
Yeah, because Eugene Melnyk died like 2-3 weeks ago, and the team has been up for sale for a while. And there has been some suitors that have some potential interest, and Justin Bieber's name has been brought up.
Screw Justin Bieber. He sucks. He's irrelevant.
Yeah, he's no way. He's not getting it.
Yeah, get this. So he has not only interest in buying the Ottawa Senators, he's a freaking Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
Oh, that's even worse.
Oh, how's that going to work?
No, it's not. It's it's like when John Bon Jovi tried to buy the Bills about 7-8 years ago, and people found out he was a New England Patriots fan.
With him. Don't get me started with him.
Well, yeah, he would have just moved him to Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say about Eugene Melnyk, even though he wasn't the best business decision maker in the world, he gave a lot back to the city of Ottawa, and he was very passionate about the team.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And I mean, and another thing he was looking to do is to try and get the Senators back into Ottawa itself instead of playing way out in Canada. So I know that's another thing he's been trying to do with that whole Barron Flats project. So
yeah, I think they're trying to build a brand new downtown stadium in Ottawa as well. I think, what is it called? Something.
Yeah, so it's the LeBaron Flats is what they're trying to build on.
The LeBaron Flats, that's what it was.
And
yeah, they're trying to build the team in Ottawa. They're trying to build an arena in downtown Ottawa. And Eugene Melnyk, before he died, rejected the offer because they didn't give him exactly what he wanted. So that's like things like that could really come into dire. But do you guys think, and you don't even have to be the biggest fucking genius in the world to figure this out, but do you honestly guys think at this point that if nobody is going to pursue the Ottawa Senators, do you think whoever buys the team, because I know there's going to be suitors in the summer, but because the NHL owns them for right now, and until they get a new owner, do you guys think they'll move the team out of Ottawa, or do you think they're going to stay where they are?
Logically speaking, I think they stay in Ottawa. My my wishful thinking is move them to Quebec City and have them become the Quebec Nordiques.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna stay. It really just depends because you have to understand something. Eugene Melnick left two daughters behind, and they're both in their like late teens. One I think is like 19 in like her second year in college, and the other one is in like her mid 20s. That was learning the ropes under Eugene Melnick. So I don't know if they would be leaving the league responsible for two young girls to run the organization. I just don't see it happening.
Well, it kind of reminds me of another scenario, like how the St. Louis Rams ended up becoming the LA Rams again. And it was a similar situation where basically, ownership, well, if I remember correctly, the owner wanted to get out because basically her children didn't want to assume the football team. And basically it went to the suitor. And then, of course, Spanos ended up buying them. And basically at that point, he's like, oh, well, by St. Louis, I'll just build a $5 billion stadium in LA called SoFi Stadium. And that's what happened.
I think they want to keep it in the family. That's what I think. And I think for someone like Justin Bieber to take control of the Ottawa Senators, I think it's very scary if you're a Sens fan, because who knows what Justin Bieber could do. I mean, he could very well keep the team in Ottawa, and he won't even I feel like if he were to take part of the ownership with the team, it'll be just like with Vegas, with Rob Gronkowski. He owns parts of the Vegas Golden Knights, or Jerry Bruckheimer, owning part of the Seattle Kraken. I think it's going to get sold to a team of investors that would buy the team. That's what I think is going to happen. And I don't think they're going to treat them very well.
Yeah, or even another example, former NBA star Michael Jordan owns part of the Charlotte Hornets. So
yeah, I don't know basketball, but I definitely know who Michael Jordan is. But I kind of get the concept though. Like, were the Hornets in New Orleans?
So they were for a while. So originally they were the Charlotte Hornets. They ended up relocating to New Orleans, and they were the New Orleans Hornets for a while because Charlotte refused to give them a new arena. And their arena was only built in 1989, so it wasn't that old, but they didn't want to do any upgrades or anything like that. So they went to New Orleans. New Orleans built the new Smoothie King Center, which that's been around ever since they've been around. And then they became eventually the New Orleans Pelicans because the Charlotte Hornets came back in the league, and now they have the Spectrum Center, which is their new arena. So, and they built it based on having them become an expansion team. Now, originally, when Charlotte came back in the league, they were known as the Charlotte Bobcats because of the fact that the New Orleans Hornets was being used. So New Orleans agreed to give up the rights to the Hornets name, give it back to Charlotte, and then New Orleans became the New Orleans Pelicans, which is one of their state birds.
Right, which makes sense. But Sean, what do you think of the whole Justin Bieber thing, or at least the ownership of the Ottawa Senators carousel?
Yeah, like I said, I don't see Justin Bieber even winning the ownership. I can't stand the guy. But and also, I just really can't see the Senators leaving Ottawa. I just can't see it.
No, especially with the building a brand new downtown stadium. Well, the city has to approve it first. Because I know the Calgary Flames are in the similar situation, and people are starting to grow fear. I would say they're starting to fear that they might be leaving Calgary, and I don't think they want to. Honestly, I think they want a better negotiation for a deal for a new arena. I think the same could be said about the LaFarge Flats with Ottawa. I don't know if the league would approve it, or let alone the city. So the Ottawa Senators, with their fans, are in a unforeseen future, and the team in Ottawa being there in general, I think, depending on who buys the team, it's in jeopardy. Yeah. So it's a scary thought. I mean, it's like if the Pagulos just died one day and they just said, okay, the Sabres and the Bills are no longer with us. They're in Buffalo. They couldn't move. It's the same thing here.
Yeah, seriously. And I mean, and that actually brings up, another point, and just kind of going back to the whole issue with the Bills recently with how they got the stadium funding approved. So basically, one of the things that came out with the whole stadium funding is that originally the Pagulos wanted the state to cover 100% of the costs, and same thing with the county. And the governor said no. So altogether, the state is going to cover about $645 million of the stadium costs. The Bills and the NFL will cover the rest. And there was talk of other cities wanting to poach the Bills. They basically were trying to offer the Pagulas anything to move the team. And here's the thing. The stadium lease that was signed in order for them to get the state funding, basically, Bills ain't relocating anytime soon. Otherwise, they have to pay the full cost and the money, like over $600 million back. And they will have to pay the cost of demolish the new stadium, which is at least a couple $100 million.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because I actually saw something today about one of the NFL executives who used to work with the Chargers when they were in San Diego was offering a good amount of money to move the Bills to San Diego. And I'm like, how are you able to move them to San Diego if, they don't even have a stadium approval?
Right. And San Diego rejected the stadium that they were trying to build in order for the Chargers to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why the change? So why the change from them all of a sudden? They couldn't even keep the Chargers, man. Like, come on.
Yep. And this was all Jerry Jones's idea.
Wow.
At least that's how I look at it. And the other thing too I want to mention is Marion Hosa's jersey, his number 81 jersey, will indeed be retired by the Chicago Blackhawks next season.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I think he's one of the few that of recent. I think he's the first member of those 3 Stanley Cup teams to have his jersey retired. Because I think they're waiting on Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane's, who Sean said toes. And I'm like, no, that's not toes, it's Taves. Like caves.
Yeah.
It's not toes, Sean. I'm just giving you an inspiration here.
Okay. All right. I got it the first time. Okay.
Okay. Toes.
Oh, man.
But you're not the only one that's ever made that mistake. I promise you. You're not the only one.
Right.
But,
I think I even did back in the day before I even know who Jonathan Tames was.
You said it too?
Yeah, I pronounced it like something like similar to what Sean did. So back in the day, so yeah, it happens. It is what it is.
Yeah, I know some people have a mixture of hard time with pronouncing certain names, like Claude Giroux. I remember Bobby Clark when he coached when he was either the GM or he was like in the director of scouting, or he was in a very high position with the Philadelphia Flyers back in like 2006 or something like that. And I remember the Flyers had the 22nd pick, and they took Claude Giroux. I think he butchers names to something like Jarox or something like that. And somebody had to correct him on stage. It's like, it's Giroux, sir. Oh, Giroux. And then he came right back up. So it worked out since then. And same thing with Mario Lemieux. With Mario Lemieux, for those who are casual, would have never understood his last name. It's Mario Lemieux, and the X is silent. But some actually said Lemieux. It's like, no, that's not how you say it.
Right. Yeah, I mispronounced his name back in the day. So
yeah, you know what it is? It's from learning a lot of film and a lot of, documentaries on YouTube. That's how you get some of these pronunciations.
Right.
That's what I do. I did that when I was a kid. I used to watch documentaries on players and other teams and stuff like that back in the day. And they pronounced it like one I remember, and I think was Dustin Bufflin, and his name was so far-fetched as far as the average, casual fan. Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, how the fuck do you pronounce that last name? Just like based off how it's described. So let me put it this way for Sean, for his sake. Here we go. So would you have guessed it if his name was Bufflin? It's spelled Byfuglien.
What?
Yeah, that's his last name.
Yeah, Dustin Bufflin.
Wow.
Yeah, look him up. Dustin Bufflin. He played for the Chicago Blackhawks, and he played for the Winnipeg Jets. And he's an American-born defenseman.
Yeah. I think at one point, like when I saw it for the very first time, I almost would have pronounced it Buffalian or something.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah.
I did that too.
The way it's spelled, holy crap.
Yeah.
You see it?
Jeez. Yep, I see him.
Yep, Dustin Bufflin. He's from Minnesota too.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a Canadian-born player. He's an American-born player. And he's one of the few black players to play in the NHL at that time. Funny how that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would have never, if we didn't say anything, you would have never figured out that his last name was spelled that way.
No, I wouldn't. Holy crap.
Apparently, Sean McDermott's visiting with Coach Don Granado today at the bench. so McDermott is actually at the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw a few pictures with him and him.
Yeah, I saw that. And apparently, before we wrap up for tonight, apparently the Kaiser family, who owns Walmart, are the front runners to buy the Denver Broncos.
So that's interesting because apparently it's part of the era of Walmart. And I mean, they're offering an insane amount of money to buy the team. I think it was like over $4 billion from what I ended up reading.
$4 billion to buy the Broncos?
Serious?
It was insane.
God damn, that's a lot of money. $4 billion just to buy the Denver Broncos. That's a lot of money.
Hang on. What the freak?
Holy crap.
Well, I just found an article on the local Denver news. Broncos Kaiser estate reached settlement. Sale of team now free and clear. Shoot, what does it say about $4 billion? Oh shoot. But dang, that's a lot of money though. What the freak?
Right.
Yeah, didn't the Pagulas buy the Bills for like $1.4 billion at the time?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so I'm actually looking at a site called Sportsnaut, which has a little bit about the sale. And apparently it says Forbes, the magazine, is estimating that the Broncos are valued at a cost of $3.75 billion. Various indications are that any asking price will start at a minimum of $4 billion, which would be a record within all of the North American professional sports leagues.
Even over the Buffalo Bills and the New York Yankees.
Yeah. And even more interesting, the most recent, most expensive sale ever was when David Tepper bought the Carolina Panthers for $2.2 billion in 2018. And then a year earlier, Joseph Tsai bought the NBA Brooklyn Nets for $2.3 billion.
Damn, dude. I mean, if you're going to invest that much money into a sports franchise, at least take care of them. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there's people out there who keep the franchise in play, but they don't ever bother treating them like they're supposed to be.
Right. Like, God, $4 billion. That's... Damn, I wish I had that.
Right? I'd be set for life.
Yeah, basically.
Sure.
But I'm curious, though, and another rumor I read was Mike Brown proposed to downtown Cincinnati about building a brand new training facility right next to Paul Brown Stadium.
Okay.
That's what I heard. Like, I don't know the full details about that, but that's apparently what I heard was the Bengals or Mike Brown is putting in a good load of money. I think it's like over $2 million or under $1 billion for a brand new state-of-the-art training facility in Cincinnati right next to Paul Brown Stadium.
Yeah, so actually, I did find a little bit of information on it, and this was actually on SportsIllustrated.com. So they are looking to build it 1 block from the stadium, and it would be built completely at the team's expense. So what they're saying is that this would allow Joe Burrow, the entire team, to practice indoors when needed. And right now, what they've been having to do is when they do indoor practices, they have to practice at University of Cincinnati. So what it would also do is they're saying the building would be a removable and inflatable 75-foot high dome that has room for a regulation sized turf field, and it's also got enough room for all the players and staff. So basically it looks like it's one of those inflatable domes is what they're looking to build.
Well, I said, I mean, again, we've been talking about it for 2 months now, that how we're all excited about going to Cincinnati in the fall together. But for them to get a brand new state-of-the-art facility, I think they earned that money. I think since, especially from income from the NFL, from the Super Bowl, I definitely think that they can use that money for a brand new facility. Because let's be honest here, when was the last time the Bengals actually spent money on something to help the team?
Not recently. I mean, yeah, they bought some better players in recently, and then they also ended up building Paul Brown Stadium in the early 2000s. So,
yeah, I'm sorry, there is just no need for them to build that new stadium that Mike Brown was proposing a few years ago. And Mike Brown's like 91 years old, so he's not going to last forever. I can tell you that. But I just don't know. Like, what is the purpose of building a brand new stadium when you could just get a brand new training facility right next to Paul Brown Stadium, or at least a block away from it? Like, it's what the Bills did. You know, they're going to they have a brand new facility. They're not going to tear that down, of course. They're going to knock down Highmark Stadium, but they're not going to tear down that facility because there's no purpose to it. Then just build the new stadium by that point.
Yeah, I mean, the Ed Pro Training Center has been there for less than 20 years. So, I mean, and that's in great shape.
Wait a minute. Yeah. That training facility has been around for 20 years?
It's been around for a while now. In fact, actually, Are
you sure about that? Because I'm pretty sure that they built it just recently, a few years ago. I think that's when they built it.
No, it's been around for a while. Let's see. It just got new turf in 2021. Ed Pro Sports got the naming rights in 2014.
When was the building built?
Let's see.
I'd love to know this because
I think I found it.
What have you got?
Well, it got renovated in 2014. Now, if my computer would actually put it up here.
You're telling me that facility's been around since 2014?
Well, yeah, before that, because it was renovated between 2015 and 2016 is when it got renovated.
Yeah, I know they made it state of the art. That I know.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, so yeah, at that point, the Bills are in good hands. So they're going to have a brand new training facility for a while, and they're going to be getting a new stadium in 2026.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm still trying to find some other info on it, but it has definitely been around.
Well, either way, the point I'm trying to make is the Bengals are willing to spend money on a facility, which they should have done 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I'm saying. That's what they should have done, was build that state. Like, they should have built that training facility about 5-6 years ago. But Mike Brown was too cheap to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
But all in all, though, like, since we're talking about Cincinnati, I actually can't wait to go to Cincinnati in the fall.
Same here. I can't wait to freaking vlog my experience there, all that fun jazz. It's going to be freaking dope, man.
Yep, and the most exciting thing, too, is we're going to find out in at least 3 weeks from now, we're going to find out when they play the Bengals.
Yep.
So that's going to be exciting. I can't wait, to be honest. I can't wait. I'm really excited. I mean, and you know what, too? Taking about, the time frame for it, it'll be right after the draft, and it would be right after our wedding coming up in July. And then by the time that's done, we'll be on our way to Cincinnati.
Yep. Oh, yep. I finally found out when it was built.
When?
You want to take a guess?
2014.
Nope. Earlier than that.
2010?
Nope. Earlier.
2005.
Nope.
I give up.
Here's a hint. It's older than the KeyBank Center.
Older than the KeyBank Center. So it's like 30 plus years old.
Well, no, it's at least 20. So the Bills Fieldhouse basically opens, from what it's showing, September 1995.
Damn. Wow. September of 95?
Yeah.
Brittany is older than that building itself. Brittany, you're older than the Bills training facility.
Oh, am I?
Yes, you are. You are older.
Yeah.
So you were born in April?
Yeah. And the KeyBank Center opened in September of 1996.
KeyBank Center, yeah. And Brittany's older than the KeyBank Center as well. She's older than that, too.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Fieldhouse opened in 1995. It got renovated in 2014, 2015, and 2019.
Damn.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. And of course, right now in the third period with 16:05 to go, St. Louis still has a 4-2 lead.
At this point, it's irrelevant. They're going to lose this game. So it's pretty irrelevant. Yeah. But is there anything else you guys want to say before we go?
Not a whole lot, really. Just, it's another week. We'll have the NFL draft coming up pretty soon. So that's going to be a lot of fun watching that.
Yeah, and you know what, too? The NFL draft, because we're going to be streaming it this year again. I'm going to be accommodated with some good company. I'm going to be in a room full of Cowboys fans, Giants fans, etc.
Nice. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, I
have
didn't
fun
actually.
with that.
I should, yeah. They'll probably be playing bingo in the background or something. That's my guess. But yeah, I just further had to tell you that because we're throwing a big ass party before the wedding. So, and I told everybody this is like my last big event before we get married.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
yeah, so people are bringing over beer and a bunch of other shit just to get ready for the party. So,
Oh, that sounds like a good time.
and like I said, I'm surrounded by Jets fans and Cowboys fans, Giants fans. You get it.
Yep. And the fun thing is, I get my work bonus tomorrow. I also get my commission payout tomorrow. So it means I can pay off the hotel room I'm going to have when I'm down visiting you guys early. So I don't have to worry about it at the actual time I come down there. So it'll be good to go. And I'll be able to pay my rental car off early too.
There you go. That's something.
Yeah. And I don't think I'm going to I don't think I'm going to drive the big ass truck down there. I'm going to probably just get an SUV, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe something like Grand Cherokee or like Ford Edge or something, but
yep. So like I said, whenever the Bengals new schedule comes out, or when the Bill schedule comes out, when they play the Bengals, we're gonna start making our plans and start attacking.
Yep.
So,
definitely.
so with that, that's all we can really say about the trip for the time being.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, and we'll probably do a live show from there too.
We'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's necessary. Do like a live stream during the game and all that. Oh my God, that'd be fun.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Actually, we'll have to do a live stream like after your wedding when we're all drunk.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me.
Although it's funny because remember when I was down there last time? It was about 3 years ago, and we ended up doing a live stream from right outside the Coliseum.
I remember that, and you were like, "Hey guys, check out this picture of me and Jason Botterill. I'm outside of the fucking yard."
Oh God, yeah, I still have that. I still have that. That had that Botterill sign back then. Actually, and my office has this, but I've got the picture of you, me, and Evan Rodriguez standing together in there. So,
in your office, you have that?
Yeah, I've got that in my office at work.
And does anybody ever ask you who the hell that guy is?
A couple people every now and then.
No, I'm saying like me, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, a couple people have asked about you and Brittany. So.
Oh wow, that's nice of you.
Yeah. So I just told him, I was like, "Hey, a good friend of mine and his fiance." So.
There you go. That's the way it be.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah, so I am hoping we can cut the show short so I can get rid of this ugly fucking jersey, get it off my body.
Hey.
Yeah.
You look good in Rangers.
Yeah.
No,
I gotta get myself cleaned up. Gotta wake up early tomorrow for a freaking appointment. That should be fun.
Yeah, got an early day tomorrow, and basically it'll be nice, kind of wrap up for the week, and we'll be another week in the books. So not a bad thing. And then and then coming soon, we might be doing some upgrades on my end, but our show next season might be coming to you guys in 4K ultra high definition. Woo! So
I can't wait for that.
We're making the jump. So once I upgrade the webcam and get a couple things on the computer set, but right now it's kind of nice. So behind the controls here, I've got dual 4K ultra high definition screens now. I've got a brand new Klipsch audio system I'm putting in, and so basically the way that my office set up, I can do 3 screens at one time. I have a 40-inch and 2 32s all together. I can mirror all of them at the same time, and 104 inches of display pleasure.
Yeah, damn right.
Yep, and I can own any of them, so I can run stuff on all of them at the same time, or I can run 3 different things, or I can split 2, or however I want to do it.
Damn right.
Yeah, allows us to edit the show in a couple different ways, which is nice, and we'll have better capabilities too.
Yeah, damn straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and Sean would love this, the i9 processor possibly too.
Ooh. Oh, that's power right there.
That's one of the things I want to throw in there. I've already got it spec'd out. 3.7 i9, which I can overclock to 5.3.
Damn.
16 cores in there.
Damn.
Oh
Yep.
gosh.
Complete with the 4K ultra high graphics card, and there you go. And that thing will be screaming for a while.
Wow.
So it'll put my i7 to shame.
Yeah.
So
All right. So I
it's
think
either
that's
that or the
about it.
Ryzen. I figured I'll take the i9 instead.
Yeah. I think that's about it for this week's topics. Is there anything you guys want to say before we go?
Well, St. Louis just scored again, so it's 5-2. So this game's probably over.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
Yeah, and I just want to say thoughts and prayers go out to Dwayne Haskins' family and friends.
Yep.
Absolutely. And also the other thing too, thoughts and prayers to the guys and to the people hurt in the New York City subway shooting earlier this week. At least they caught the person. He's going to be brought up on federal terrorism charges.
Yeah. I saw that.
And at least everyone is expected to survive, which is good. So thank you.
Yeah, that's one good thing.
Yeah.
At least everybody's okay.
Yep, definitely.
Yep.
So yeah, but other than that, we'll just we'll see what else happens. And Owen Power got his first official assist tonight, so he's in the point books now, which is good. So
yeah,
it's good to see. He's gelling pretty well so far.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then what we'll do, of course, until next time, guys, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next
Later.
week.
Buffalo After Dark is an Asian H Studio production and is produced in partnership with Horns and Hooves Entertainment.